Welcome back to the Whole Life Podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Tegg, and today on the podcast, we're going to have Matt Lacross, who is specialized in continuous line art, where you do an entire photo without lifting up your pen, and he has dialed it in down to the pen, down to the music, down to the environment that he's in. He's created all of his art in cafes, and today we had an amazing conversation. He's a car enthusiast, a inline skate designer, a gallery owner, and a future gallery owner. And we get to hear the inside of what it was like in the action sports industry back in the day. He's got some amazing stories, and he's just an amazing person and a privilege to have on the on the podcast, whatever this thing is that we're doing. But I really enjoyed our conversation, and I think you're gonna dig it. So tune in and we'll get to the podcast. Matt.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Tommy.
Matt. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's exciting and stuff. So.
Yeah. Have you been on any other podcasts?
I've done some interviews over the years and stuff like that for my art and about my art gallery and different aspects of some of the other businesses. I've been in automotive and alternative sports and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've been out there a little bit in the media, so which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. It is always kind of fun, getting out there and stuff. And now you're kind of in between galleries.
Well, yeah. So right now, I mean, I've had a gallery in Seattle for 7 years. I started that with a buddy of mine, Wes, and it was more of, I saw kind of a need for, I don't know. I mean, as an artist, when you're first starting out and trying to put your artwork out there, you just get a lot of no's because they don't know you, they don't know your art or anything. And so I've always kind of been a little bit of anti-establishment in a way for bigger anything, business, galleries, or whatever it is. And so I kind of did my FU to the art industry and said, I'm going to open up my own gallery. And it was on Aurora next to the Woodland Park Zoo. I mean, who has, there's prostitutes walking by. Yeah. And, but it was awesome because it was the only no fee, no commission art gallery in Seattle, which was cool.
That is cool.
Gallery owners were kind of pissed because they're like, hey, well, this is how we make a living. I'm like, well, then you do your thing, but I'm doing this as well, you know, and we did no judgment of ability or content. And people were like, well, hold on, how do you make money? We're like, we don't make money. That's the whole, this isn't about money. And it was just about community. And oh man, it was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And unfortunately, we lasted 7 years and I just paid out of pocket. And
I was going to ask, how did you pay for it or like keep it going? Yeah,
totally team broke artist. You know, I would literally put paying the rent for the gallery before even paying my own rent on months because, we were just doing what we could to struggle and survive. But it meant so much to the community that I just did it anyways. Yeah. And the only reason it closed is there was a woman that had just graduated from design school, like clothing design, and she wanted to use the gallery for 6 months as like a little pop-up studio where she could make custom clothes. Yeah. And so I booked it for 6 months for her. And before that, every show is only one night. Yeah. And she didn't show up on the day she was supposed to open.
Oh,
and I'm like,
seriously?
So I hadn't booked anybody for 6 months and I was starting a new business and I'm like, I just can't maintain this anymore. Yeah. So I ended up letting it go, but it was cool because the owner of the property, Jerry Dreger, one of the coolest people ever. He gave it to me for $350 a month.
Dang.
For a 15 by 20 one room little building on Aurora for $350. It was incredible. And Aurora gets over 60,000 cars a day that go by. They're huge visibility. So my friends that own Casual Industries Clothing, local clothing company, I put their logo on the wall of it one time and people were just like, dude, I've seen your logo everywhere. And so it really helped them even get a ton of exposure. But just a blast to have that place. It was incredible. So
that's so fun. Yeah. And like just having the collaborative space for people to go.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but I kind of had a vision for that in a way. And the challenge is like, how do you pay for the space? How do you maintain the space? And so I've thought of it for like a thrift store type of situation, except it's in combination with a maker space.
Yeah.
Which is more about like, more of a workshop and things, but I could totally see it as like, an artist space as well, where maybe it's like, there's classes or something that also help to pay for things.
Okay.
But I also, it's, having a space like that, I think is so beautiful for the art community. And I wish there was more of it, because, you see and meet people, and like, definitely no shade, but like people that go to 4-year universities to get an art degree, or like to get a bachelor's in pottery or something, which to me is like completely unnecessary, when you could have like more of a community space that's like, I just need the tools and the guidance to like do this, to and like started. You could do it for 4 years and become a expert potter, but it doesn't need to cost you $100,000 a year or something like that.
I agree.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Did you ever go to school for art?
Hooked on phonics.
That's a good question before I just like bash it completely.
No. I did. I went to school, community college Shoreline, for just a little bit, and was as an artist, you get there and you meet like the guidance counselor, and like, okay, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I want to be an artist. Okay, what kind of artist? And I'm like, what do you mean? There's like a variety? Yeah. Well, there's graphic design, there's visual. I'm like, oh shit. So I took, I kind of went in the path of visual communications. I guess that sounded like the right thing, but to do. But I really learned quickly that it wasn't, so I took some graphic design classes, things like that. But I ended up getting, I worked at an inline skate shop, or, snowboard, skateboard, inline skate shop in Seattle, Greg Cycle. Has been there since 1932, which is cool. Yeah. And ended up working there for a few years, and ended up getting hired by K2 on Vashon when the whole inline skate industry took off. And at that point, I just was like, school, screw it, and I just went in and just dove in head first into alternative sports, and was there for 7 years doing that. And so I never really went back. And I did try to go back, because a woman I was working with there was like, hey, if you go and finish a degree, it doesn't even matter what it is. I have 3 companies that'll pay you triple what you're making right now. You just have to have the piece of paper. And I remember I had created the #1 selling inline street skate of all times for X Games, Gravity Games kind of stuff. And Nike approached me, and they wanted to potentially hire me, and they asked me to send them my resume. So I took a picture of that skate that I had made and faxed it over to them.
You're like, dude, have you seen this?
Yeah, and it's like, we're the #1 in the world. Like,
yeah.
And so, that's your ego speaking. And the woman was like, I got a picture of the skate. I guess if this is your resume, I guess we'll take that. But so obviously I didn't get the job, but that was kind of my FU as well. And, sometimes that's not the best thing to do, but it was interesting. But that was my education level. And so some college. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I appreciate it too. Just being able to say that. And, along those lines, like, when going to school, like I went and got my 4-year degree in urban planning. And, but the funny thing is I started going to school for a different reason. Okay. And then when they get you into that office, it's like, they're just playing the role, showing the catalog, what they offer. Yeah. But it really like, bottlenecks you.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what the right term, but basically it's like, you're thinking there's all these art possibilities, but then you're like, well, we've got these 4.
That's right. Yeah. That narrow it down.
Yeah. Graphic design. And it really like limits your scope of possibility of like what's out there. Right. And you're like, I understand you got to make it to be like concise so you can go through a program. Yeah. But like for me too, when I went to school originally way back, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Okay. And I got that advice too, where it's like, just go get a degree, get any of them. Yeah, and I'm like, I did awful. Like I just like first 2 quarters, I just like failed out. Okay. And I was like, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
This is not the right fit.
This is not the right fit. So I ended up taking a break. Okay. And then I ended up going back later. And I started with, originally I wanted to do that makerspace where it's like thrift store and a makerspace. Oh, that's cool. So then you can also like repair and reuse all the materials that I don't know what the percentages or what the stats are, but the thrift store has to throw out so much junk. Like like Goodwill and Value Village, it's like just thousands and thousands of pounds of junk every year. And like a lot of that could be repurposed. And that's why I started going back to school, because I wanted like a better foundation to like,
that's great.
You know, manage this big enterprise that it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
But then when I got into school, I totally lost sight of that.
Okay.
And like, I found urban planning, which I didn't even know existed at the time, but, and I enjoyed that, but it also like sidetracked me. And I think that happens for a lot of people, but that's, I think, super commendable to like, you know, I'm not going to fit into like your dance that you guys are doing. Like it's totally fine, but let's do something else. Or like facing the other gallery owners are like, well, this isn't the way that we do it. And it's like, well, I'm not that worried about the way that
I don't care how you do it.
I don't care how you're doing it. I just want to have an art space for people.
And one of the coolest things too is by the time we closed it or whatever, when we were doing it, we were doing like 60 to 70 shows a year, which is huge. Yeah. And we had everybody from people that drew stick figures to UW professors showing. It was incredible. And probably the best thing that ever came out of that, to me, the most rewarding, is there was a guy named Jerome Larson who used to come. So whether we had a show booked or not when we first started it, I would just put my artwork up every Friday night, and we just open the doors. And you know, we had a friend of ours that worked for Hale's Ale, and he would bring us up 2 cases of beer, like that was their sponsorship. Yeah. And so we'd just be hanging out. We had like the little pocket bikes, the little motorcycles. We were selling those at the time. So we're doing like 60-mile-an-hour, no foot, one-handed wheelies down Aurora, just crazy, right? Yeah. And even the police stopped by one time, and they were like, "Hey, look."
Were you in that? Sorry, were you in that? There is it a motorcycle shop now?
So it was. When we left, when we closed up the gallery, a guy that I know actually started a motorcycle bar in the building. Oh, okay. And it was, and then my car dealership was actually next to it. And then when I left, it went into Seattle Used Bike, took over the space. Yeah. But, so when I first started the art gallery, I didn't have the car dealership yet. Okay. And there was a guy from Canada that had a little car dealership there. And I was funny because I went up to him one day and I said, I wish you the best in your car dealership, but oh, that's funny. Okay. But yeah. So the space next to it was an old car dealership that was owned by Jerry Dreger. So he owned the whole front of that block. And so like I was saying, I went up to the guy who had the car dealership at the time, and I said, "Hey man, I wish you all the best of luck, but I'm going to have this space one day." And he's like, "Oh, whatever," kind of laughed. Well, sure enough, he closed his doors and I got the space. Yeah. And so that's where I started my first car dealership. But there, like I was saying, there was a guy, Jerome Larson, that would come to the gallery every Friday. And it was really cool because he was a real kind of a quirky guy. He had these cool, funny hats he would wear, like 3/4 length coats, and didn't really talk much. But he would do kind of a photo documentary of each Friday night. And then the next Friday, he'd bring us pictures. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. He's documenting it. And then he started showing up with a tape recorder, and he was recording conversations, and he'd give us those too. And so we kind of got to learn him a little bit more, and ended up finding he was a modern utilitarian, is what he kind of called himself. So he would take these found objects and turn them into beautiful pieces of furniture. I mean, really cool stuff, like carbon fiber and woods and brass and everything. Well, Jerome was a staple. He was there every Friday for a long time. Well, then one Friday he wasn't there. I'm like, that's weird. Jerome's always here. Another one, he wasn't there. So a couple months went by, and Jerome's best friend and his brother showed up at the gallery and said that Jerome had passed away. And we're like, we didn't know. He never really spoke about himself, you know. We went to his studio one time, but we found out that he was a pretty well-known local artist in Seattle, but he got sick of the whole art scene of what it was about money and ego and all this stuff, and he just dropped out. So he became a hermit. And his brother said that Jerome spoke so highly of what the Black Box did for him, got him out of his shell, because it was truly about community, non-judgmental, that they felt he would want to have his memorial at the Black Box. Oh, wow. And have you ever seen the movie Big Fish with Ewan McGregor? Oh, yeah. Not in a long time. Okay. But you know, the idea of it is all at the end, when his father passed away, all of these people showed up out of the woodwork. it was the same thing. I swear. There was like 200 people showed up for his memorial. All walks of life.
Yeah.
And again, this is a 15 by 20 gallery. It's tiny. But I went up there and the whole front of the block was people, around just for Jerome. I mean, he had that impact. And to think that this little box on Aurora that didn't have any connection with any of the Seattle art scene could have that impact on somebody.
That's beautiful.
It made it all worthwhile.
That's so beautiful.
So what I'm trying to do is I want to do that in Tacoma. And it's funny because I had approached a couple people that were known for having these spaces.
Yeah.
And nothing came from it. Because to me, what I find out is people overcomplicate. I mean, they just do. They think you need some big proposal or this and that about it.
Yeah. Oh.
Just give me a box, a little room. I will make an art gallery and it won't cost you anything. And it's just sad because there's so much available. I mean, Tacoma is like a ghost town downtown. I mean, massive spaces that are sitting empty. People put them to use. And I think you got a great idea with your concept as well, because why does everything have to be about money? There's so much money here that just give some people some space. And what I get kind of bothered by is you've got like the sculpture park in Seattle and all these, places where people are spectators. They're not participants in art. I want people to participate in art, make spaces for people to create on a larger scale rather than museums and all. We've got plenty of those and plenty of places. I mean, you think of the sculpture garden in Seattle. I mean, the millions and millions of dollars that, great, for a little public art. Well, make places where people can do art, that's my opinion, but,
Totally. And there's something about those spaces too where they're dead. It's not like it's rotating art. It's like one piece goes up and it's like who won the lottery to get have their piece there, and like total respect and appreciation for the people that do put their art in those places. But it really is like there's this like term that's like activated spaces. Like all this vacant space in Tacoma, it's like people are trying to get it activated, like in between tenancies. But then thinking about that in parks and different like museums and stuff, it's just such a kind of like dead energy that happens where there's not creation happening. It's like and then maybe that too is like where some of the ego, it's like, I have my sculpture's in this park. And it's like, it's kind of like, that's your space, which is like some pieces are just meant to stay there, but then like, where is the activity and like continued creation?
True.
Because I think that's one of the things about art that I really loved also is that it's not about making this perfect piece. It's about like the continuation of the process where you keep creating. Like if you're only looking for like to make that one perfect thing, then you're kind of like, you probably won't feel as rewarded either because you're like, there's so much pressure on that one thing.
True.
I hope someone listens to this and like gets inspired, because I also like having a space like that in Tacoma would be so perfect. And I feel like Tacoma, like still Seattle's a great city, but it's kind of evolved into a different city where it's like there's still some underground art community, but with all the industries that have moved there, it's really like a tech city now, I feel like. And so I feel like there's this opportunity for Tacoma maybe to become more of the art center, but it's still maybe not quite as affordable as you want it to be. I don't know about $350 a month for a space, but
it's funny. I mean, I looked into these like artist creative lofts to rent, or I'm like, oh my god, that's cool, whatever. They were like $1,800. I'm like, artists are broke in most cases. We talk about the balance of like, and that's one of the questions I think you always have to ask artists is, okay, what is your main focus to creating art? Do you want to make money on it? Do you want it to be a business, or do you just want to create art? That's what you have to ask people, because a lot of people, they think that, art's so easy. I mean, it's a bit, I want to make a living. Okay, well, my art teacher was the head of the graphics division for Art Institute of Seattle, and I remember asking her, I said, hey, do I need to go to school like this and she's like, it's what you take out of the school. You can go to community college and get the same degree as you can at Art Institute or wherever. And So again, she was like, art is 90% business and 10% art. She's like, that's why you'll see some artists that in a way really aren't that good, but they know business. And I mean, and amazing artists that will never see the light of day because they're not business people. So you really have to ask yourself, like even my niece, she was like, oh, I want to be an artist. I'm like, well, what kind of artist? And she's like, a photographer. I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, 2 of my clients are some of the best rock photographers in the world. One of them's a National Geographic photographer. They do corporate headshots now because they can't make a living because people are okay with good enough photography. They're like, where are you seeing your photography now? On an iPhone or it may be a computer screen? That's as big as you're seeing. So you don't see the detail and the nuances that make an incredible photo. So people are okay with good enough. So even people with iPhones, I mean, I've won photographic awards with my phone, my iPhone photos.
Yeah.
Because again, you're not seeing them on a massive scale. And people are, again, they see that and go, oh, that's an amazing photo. But they don't see the details of maybe a fine art photographer would, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to ask people those questions and see what is art really for. So for me, I don't want my art to be a business. I want to inspire people with my art, and creating is just something I know I just need to do. And that's what I create art for. And I don't need to be in galleries and all this stuff. And hopefully one day, I mean, I'd like to be out there a little bit more, but more to inspire other people to just create art. But you don't need to go to school for it in a way, because you can just do it. And you can sit in your house or wherever you like to do art, create for yourself. You don't need to make a business out of it. So
Thank you so much for listening. And if you've made it this far and you want to support the podcast, we have a couple options today. One is just like and sharing and spreading the news. 2 is joining our Patreon for a low price of $5 a month, and you'll get little special perks and little access and little discounts and all sorts of things over time. We're continually building it out. Everything counts. And also, we're going to link all of Matt's equipment down below, from his suitcase, his light that he uses, his pens, his paper, the headphones that he uses. So if you're interested, these are things that he's like really refined over the years, and really enjoys them and can stand by them. So if you want to see what he's using or pick some up for yourself, you can find links, affiliate links to those down below, and that goes to help support the podcast. So thank you so much again for tuning in, and back to the episode.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think sometimes too, this school can get in the way of making art. Like I found myself at one point, like when I was like struggling to get a job and like, and like really the whole point of me going to school in the first place was so I could like help my community. Right. And then I'm like so focused on the money and the job aspect of it that I'm like, maybe I should go back to school so I can be more qualified to help the community. When like I could have just started helping the community. And in the same way, it's like, oh, if I want to be an artist, I've got to go get this degree. When it's like, you could have just started doing art right away. You could just do it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a guy named John Perkins. He wrote one of my favorite books called Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Oh yeah.
And then he branched off, and so he was full kind of corporate in a way, money and all this stuff. And then he went completely opposite and went holistic, right? But then he wrote a really cool book called Shapeshifter, because although he knew the corporate side and then went holistic, he knew that by going holistic, he would actually have to go back into the corporate world with his new beliefs to really make an impact. Because if you have control, the power in big business, you can do it for the good. And so cool saying he came up with is, never try and become anything, just be it. Which is right. Like people say, I want to be an artist. Well, do you draw every day? Well, yeah. Then you are an artist already.
You're
it's
already
just, you have to define what your end goal is, or what your vision of being an artist is. You know? So I thought that was pretty cool. You know?
Absolutely. And I find myself like when I'm doing, it's like I feel the best and I don't think about it and I just like go through the motions. But then sometimes when I'm like thinking about what I'm going to do, then it like puts me in this delay, and there's like this decision paralysis of which direction to go.
Okay.
And then self-doubt can creep in of like, well, what am I even doing, or what am I offering people?
Yeah.
And so it can be really like that. It's like, if you're thinking about what kind of artist you are, or like getting stuck thinking there's a perfect thing to do, a perfect type of art to do, or like if you get so focused on the outcome at the end, like I'm going to sell these pots or plates that I made, and they're going to be the best plates in the world.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then you can get stuck doing that. Like if you came up with this idea and you just get stuck doing that, then you kind of lose track of like what you were doing it for in the first place.
True.
Rather than like starting from like one of the things about art is like, what's the thing that interests you the most right now? And it doesn't matter. Like you're there. Are you creating every day?
Exactly.
It was a few months ago, I was kind of like at this point where I was like, we talked about it a bit when I was like doing the general contracting stuff. I was really trying to, I have these skills, and I was trying to figure out what I want to do, but I was like doing a little videos and stuff. And then I decided to do 30 days of doing something creative every single day. And I found myself making videos every day. Like it wasn't even as much about doing the activity as it was about me making the video for the activity. And then it was like, oh, I love this. And it's like, it was just showing up to do something creative. And carving out the time also, because when I was thinking about it, it would just never happen. And so even that, I don't know, like in your experience too, like even that, just putting it on the schedule, to show up and make the intention to do that every day.
That's right.
And you're like, I see you, like we know each other from the cafe. That's right. And it's like an amazing experience to like have you in the cafe.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it.
And you've got such a cool like briefcase and like drawing setup.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like it's a beautiful like experience.
Oh,
like,
I appreciate it.
You know, when I imagine a cafe, it's like someone's working, someone's doing art. So it's really cool. But do you like have a schedule that you follow, or do you like prioritize it in some way to like keep active?
Yeah. So I've been doing so all of the art I create is in a coffee shop. I start the whole thing is done in coffee shops because I feed off the energy around me and from the people, and I've been doing it for over 25 years now. And so that's one of the new programs I'm working on is to inspire and connect. And I think all the different businesses I've been involved in over the years, from alternative sports. I was a Northwest brand ambassador for Ferrari, so I've dealt with the biggest money people, some in the world, and it comes down to the same thing. People are just people, right? And I don't care if you have money or don't have money. Some of the wealthiest people, they don't seem very happy, And so I don't think it's about the money. Is more of if you're doing what you love to do. And so what I've found over the years is by putting my artwork out in front of me and kind of almost like a little display every day, it stops people. And it doesn't matter for almost babies to people in their 80s that stop and just like, and they're just mesmerized by what I'm doing. And so what I'm coming to terms with is getting to a point where that's the inspiration, right? It stops people and they're like, oh my God, somebody's drawing in a coffee shop. That's really cool. But then they stop and talk to me about it. And because of my background, there's a lot of subjects I can talk about, but I just love people. And so I can connect with people on so many different levels that we can just have an incredible interaction, and that's the connection. And I think that's probably the thing our world needs most right now is that human connection, because we're so disconnected. Social media, or people, you go in the coffee shops and they're all on their computers and head down, but when do people make an impactful connection? And it's funny because to watch, being in your coffee shop, to watch these people every day, because there's a lot of regulars, do the same thing, and they don't connect with anybody. They just come in and out and come in and out. And I've seen that consistently throughout everywhere I've drawn, and I've drawn all over the world. where's the connection? When do people stop? And so to me, that's my vision and I want to get like almost ambassadors, other people that believe in that vision all over the world to sit in coffee shops and do your artwork and stop people and connect with them, because I think we can do it. And that's the same idea with the art gallery I had is people from all over the country. And this was really before social media took off. We're like, how can I start one of these? I wanted to start a black box. And it's that movement. People, but I believe in the same thing too. I see that. And we can do this together. It's this social movement to get back to community and being cool with one of another and stop judging and stop beating people up and being mad and blah, blah, blah. But just get back together and have cool conversations and reconnect with people. And that's my vision, right now. So,
yeah, that's beautiful. It's amazing, working in the coffee shop. Like I've worked at that coffee shop for 2 years now. And, I see some of the people every week. Right. Yeah. And I'm like a very chatty person. Yeah. So
that's what keeps me coming back, dude. I mean, you're really, to me, I was like, you're like one of the coolest people. To me, you're like the coolest person I've met in Tacoma. That's why, I mean, seriously, and I watch you, dude, because everybody is excited to talk to you. You have such a different energy compared to anybody that works there. And everybody wants to talk to you. You're just a good person, and people can see that. That's what I've always appreciated about you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I have to learn, over time, not everybody's ready to chit chat. There's a balance. And especially in the morning, they're like, it's 6:30, man. I don't have anything. Just give me my damn coffee.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder most people I don't think are quite as chatty as me. And I wonder what's it like to go into into a coffee shop that, which is cool. But I thank you so much for saying that. I do it because I love talking to people.
Sure.
And it's funny probably that I didn't start a podcast sooner because I love hearing about people's lives, the story. I also, even in movies, I love origin stories. Like a superhero movie, great, but the origin story of how they got there, those are some of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
But it is amazing being in the cafe and some people spend so much of their life going and interacting this, but never really interacting or getting to know the other people sitting next to you. It's
I agree.
I could be like, you guys work here every Tuesday for the last year.
Yeah.
And I've never talked to each other.
I know.
It's just this weird kind of disconnect.
Yeah.
And I wonder too, there's this the Seattle freeze or the Northwest is kind of known for being a little more reserved. I wonder if there's a little bit of that's still happening where maybe in another city where people are talking to each other all the time and it's Cheers or something.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and you think of, I look at that. I've obviously watched a lot of baristas over the years and you kind of think okay, you got to be here. So why don't you interact a little more? Different coffee shops. Sometimes people, they know my drink when I come in or whatever, because we talk about it and we kind of learn. And then some other people, it's fully, what are you getting again? I'm like, how many times have I been in here? And we don't, it's I try and, inquire about people and what do you do? How whatever. And it's just amazing. It's you already have to be here. So what, don't you want to know the people around you? Yeah. You do, you interact with everybody, it's when I worked for Ferrari, we used to have to do our test drives with people. Oh my God, I just want to know about this person. Dude, you're buying a, $1 million car.
How did you do
it? Yeah. I met the, have you seen Amy's Kitchen, the healthy frozen foods?
Oh yeah.
Amy's, right?
I think, is it Amy's or Andy's?
Amy's.
Oh yeah.
Amy's is one of the biggest
boxes,
ones.
Yeah.
But I got to sell a car to that guy, right?
Oh wow.
And he flew up from California, and
I said, "Dude, Amy, or is there another?"
So Amy's his daughter.
Oh,
and so
that's cute.
I would just want to. Screw the car, man. It's what it is. You're gonna buy it anyways. But I just want to know your story. And he was just total down to earth, like almost like a farmer, but that's what he was originally. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I worked in agriculture for a while, because I'd always like, dude, what was your story? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, I worked in, agriculture and stuff, and more health foods and things. But he's like, well, my wife got pregnant. She kind of said, yeah, you're cooking now, man. Yeah. So you go to the store. And he's like, there was no healthy alternatives. Yeah. And he's like, $1 billion later, Amy's Kitchen. I'm like, wow. I mean, he flew up in his private jet. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like a suit guy, down to earth. But it was so cool, because most people were like, so those Ferrari clients, they got to be a bunch of assholes. I'm like, no, because we sold Maserati at the same time as well. I'd only worked on Ferrari, but we had Maserati. They were the assholes. Because they couldn't afford the cars.
They couldn't afford but they wanted the attitude, like, that's right. They're like, I'm better than it. I got a fancy car.
I stepped up a little bit, but I can't afford the Ferrari. The Ferrari
You're probably
people, what
stressed out because you can't afford it.
They were stretching. They financed or whatever. But the Ferrari people, that's real money.
Interesting.
And they knew they had real money. They didn't have to have that. He's one of the early Microsoft people was our client. Just the most down-to-earth dude. I mean, he's a billionaire. Yeah. And he would come in, and our whole thing was, he just needs a Diet Coke. That's it. Just make sure he has a Diet Coke. Yeah. And he would roll up to car shows in one of his cars sold for like $48 million. And he would let little kids sit in it, and he'd put his pop on top of it. And he was like, as long as you have the foundation of the car, that's all that matters. Because if it gets wrecked, you can have it rebuilt. You just need to own it. Yeah. So, I mean, just a different level of wealth. Yeah. But cool, because he knew he had money. He didn't have to show off. He wasn't a showboater. He just enjoyed his cars. But it was so cool to see that different level of wealth. But again, I wanted to know everybody's stories. How did you do what you did? And back the Nordstroms, people like that. It's like just cool to hear the backstory, like you said. I want to know your story.
Totally. Yeah. And like that's one thing I ask people too is like, what do you do? Yeah. And it's funny. People kind of have a script. They're like, a lot of times we're like, oh, I'm a nurse. And I'm like, whoa, what kind of nurse? Yeah. Because I've talked to a lot of you, and it's all different.
There's not just generic nurses.
Just generic nurse. Yeah. And then, but I through the process, I've also ruled out a lot of options for myself. Oh, like, at one point I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a lawyer. Okay. Like I took a law class, and I found it really interesting. Okay. But then every lawyer I have talked to is like stressed out and like doesn't really like it. They're like, would not, 10 out of 10 would not recommend it. Sure. But there's been a number of things like that. But I'm always like, I think because I have so many interests too, like I love living vicariously through somebody's story. And it's like, I can imagine what my life would be like going through that. And then, sometimes it is like talking to someone that has done something successful, I'm like, maybe like I could follow a part of that to be like successful in my own life, Okay. So like learning for inspiration and like lessons and stuff. Yeah. But then that's also like the beautiful thing about the podcast too. Like I want to talk like that. It's like talk to you and talk to Amy's food person and be like, where did you start? Like, what's it like now? Sure. And also like, that's kind of part of this too. And I'm curious in your perspective too, is like when we see someone that's achieved something, we see them for the thing that they've achieved and we just assume that they're successful. Yeah. But how does that feel? Like, is it all it's cracked up to be? Yeah. Like, I'm curious, like in times in your life, like when you have the black box or like when you've had a car dealership or like when you're doing your art, like are there times where you feel like the happiest or most content or are there times like where on the outside it seems successful but you don't feel that way? Sure. Have you found that through the process of an artist?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've always been a creator. I think that's at the end of the day. And I feel that I live a passionate life. So no matter what I'm doing, I will find the path. You know what I mean? I'll turn it into what I want it to be. And I think that's when I'm the happiest, is when I'm creating. And like when I worked at K2, I was in a really unusual position because I was making them a lot of money, So I was underneath the president of the company in a way. Like he would speak to me. He didn't really speak to many people, but he liked me because I was making the money, and he was cool. He was excited about what we were doing. And so, but my boss directly, she didn't like me. I didn't like her, but I was in the middle. So she couldn't fire me and because of him, so I could do whatever I wanted to. But I've always told people that about myself, what I've learned. Make sure my bills are paid and I will produce for you. Because that's just the way my mind works. If I have stability financially, I'm going to be my most creative. I'll be creative when I'm stressed out too, but I'm better if I know my bills are paid. So everything I've ever been involved in, that's usually the best time for me is just when I'm creating. And right now it's an exciting time for me because my bills are paid in a way barely. Yeah. So, I'm doing Instacarting, I'm doing automotive warranty inspections, but I was just approached by an investor to start my car dealership up again. I just met a woman who has like $190 million in grants to be able to start maybe another art gallery. I'm doing my art full time. I just launched a YouTube channel. I'm opening doors like crazy and it's exciting, but I'm broke as shit, but it's so fun because I can do, I've kind of put myself, you hear the FU position in life where you have so much money. Well, when you're broke, you're kind of in the same place too, because you don't have anything to lose, man. You can just say, what? F you too, because I don't give a shit. You can't take anything from me, man.
I got nothing to lose.
No, so that's what's kind of fun too, is being in that situation where I get to come to the coffee shop every morning and draw because I don't have a schedule like that. I don't have to go to work and be stressed out. I know I got things I have to do, but I turn it as a priority that from 6 a.m. to 9 or 10 every day, I'm drawing. That's what I do. And to me, man, it's the most beautiful way to start a day, to cool, conversation, community, artwork and music and coffee every morning. I mean, dude, it doesn't get any better.
Like what do you want life to be like? I also found, I've done the different jobs I've had over the years, but with the urban planning, I was a city planner for a few years. And there's there's the career track where you're associate planner, you become a principal planner, and then I can't remember what the other level is, but you move up, you make more money, and then you're also doing more paperwork. But one of the things is I'm working so much and I have all this money that I can buy all these things that I want to be doing, right? Yeah. But then I'm not doing any of them. Sure. And I've never been a super money motivated person. Like I've had commission jobs over the years, and it just does not motivate me. Like
me neither.
What motivates me is the task, like what I'm doing. So I really relate to that where if money's taken care of, I'm going to do it the best that I can. That's right. But then if I have to it's tough because it's there is that component to the money side of even for this, I've got to figure out what sort of sponsorships or donations or what am I going to do to help fund this process. The whole point of it is so I can do it more.
Oh, sure.
It's I work at the coffee shop so I can do all of this.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And so someday it'll the tables will turn. And so then, money will come in. So I can spend more time doing it.
That's right.
But it's the money itself isn't what's motivating me.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we lose track of it where we get sucked into the money or I need so many people are going to school because they want to make money at the end of the day, or we're doing all these things rather than thinking of well, what do I actually want to be doing? And that has given me the most amount of liberation in my life where I can choose what I want to be doing and how I spend my time.
Sure.
It's the most freeing, beautiful thing.
I agree.
I agree. Drawing, coffee shop, connection, that's beautiful to me.
It's the best. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I think that's why you and I connected too, because I've never been a financially motivated person. And it's just, I like to live passionately, and again, it's if I told people, I said, if I passed away tomorrow or something, I could say, oh my God, my life has been incredible. I've traveled the world. I've, rode my bike on the Great Wall of China. I've partied I went to Tony Hawk's wedding. I mean, like, I've driven the best Ferraris made. I've created artwork. I've had incredible relationships with people. And like, I mean, I still ride. I'm almost 55. I ride BMX all the time. Still, people are like, oh, well, that's, this is the funniest thing, man. A couple of weeks ago, I was ripping through Proctor, just gapping off of curbs and just jumping everything. And a guy in a Prius drives by and yells out the window. He yells out grow up. And I'm like, you drive a Prius? Dude, I'm like, fuck you. I mean, because, for me, I grew up riding BMX and skateboarding and inline skating. And so that's been my life is kind of alternative sports, you know what I mean? And so I know from the core what that lifestyle is. And it's a creative life. You got a lot of people that are in that industry that are artists and musicians. And I mean, it's a very creative lifestyle, which I love. So I know when something's real and when it's not real, and in an alternative sports, that's why I got out of it because, I had a dream job. I literally traveled the world, and hanging out with the top inline skate and BMX skateboarders in the world. I mean, look at Tony Hawk's and, Dave Mira's and I mean, a VIP at every event. I mean, just incredible. But I saw that K2 was going the wrong direction. They were focusing on TV results, X Games, and X Games is a joke. I mean, it really is in a way. It's a stunt show for TV. Yeah. It's not the pros and things like that. It's like, oh, how many backflips can a guy do? Yeah. Okay, that's ridiculous because it's challenging, yes, but to a lot of the pros, they're like, it's showing off of like, I'm gonna do 12 backflips. It's like, who cares? Like it's alternative sports is a lifestyle industry. And when companies start going away from that lifestyle, that's when they fall. And that's what K2 did. And it was the worst thing ever because to quit that job was painful because, I mean, I was hanging out with like Glenn Plake, I mean, best of the ski world. I mean, some of the coolest people ever. But I saw that they were going downhill because they started focusing away from the lifestyle. And look where they are now, man. Yeah. I look at it as how many K2 stickers do you see on cars anymore? None. Yeah. They're local company. I mean, I always tell people, if you don't own your backyard as a brand, you don't own shit. Yeah. And it's true. And so, I actually interviewed with K2 just a little bit ago. And if I went back in there, like for snowboard marketing manager stuff, I'd be cleaning house. Yeah. I would say, look, you're going to stop everything you're doing until you own your backyard again. Because if you don't, I'm not working here. But I would clean house. And even with brands like Ferrari, I mean, it's like they got more concerned about, you got to email this customer 60 times and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, people, this should be a handshake business. And you should be promoting this brand ambassador, which I was. Just go out and drive Ferraris, man. Go talk to people. Go to coffee shops. Go to restaurants. Yeah. When I had a car dealership, that was one of my biggest things. I'd park like a Porsche 930 Turbo outside and be drawing inside, and people would come in and go, "Dude, are you?" And because I always told people when I was in car sales and stuff, or I said I'm not a car salesman, but people, as soon as somebody wanted to come in and on a car, the first thing I would do is not talk about cars. And you show them that you're just a passionate person, you love cars, they would buy that car every damn time. I mean, because they just were like, oh, this guy's not a car salesman. He's just a dude that loves cars, and so you sell them every time, And when I worked at Ferrari, there was a guy that came in and the owner told me, he's like, this guy's never bought a Ferrari. So if you sell him one, you're the man. And I'm like, so I didn't have to sell him. I was just talking cars, right? Yeah. The guy had like a Carrera GT. I mean, some badass stuff. And he bought the car from me. And he, at the end of the sale, he was like, do you know why I bought a car from you? And I'm like, why? He's like, because you're a car guy. Exactly. It's like, well, shouldn't everybody be? But a lot of people aren't, man. And even like art, real quick, we were talking about going to school, right? We had when I was in school for a little bit, we had a female nude, right? It was a study that we were doing, and there's probably 30 people in the class. Everybody's starting to do their thing. Well, I did a continuous line drawing of the girl. Yeah. My professor comes over and it was like, everybody, stop. Come over here real quick. Look at this. I didn't tell you had to draw it like everybody, shading and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, unfortunately, that's the majority of people in this world. They don't do anything unique. They do it the way they think it's supposed to be done. Or it's horrible, which is cool because I'm okay with that because I'm a different person.
The other way.
I get to be my own person. In
the
majority of the world, they don't. A lot of people don't understand my artwork. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And again, I talk about I never argue with what wants to come out. That's why I can create so much because I'm not going, oh well, what if people? Oh God, oh no, it doesn't look. Or I don't do that shit. I just I don't care if my work is if I don't even like it, who cares? Move on. Just keep going. Go. And that, I don't get hung up on that stuff because I know who I am as a person, and I commit to that. And I've acknowledged that a long time ago, and I'm okay. I don't need to question myself and shit. I know who I am, my visions, the way I think, and I can just create like it's unstoppable. You know what I mean? So.
Thank you again for tuning in. We're almost getting there, and just a reminder, if you want to support the podcast or if you want to see anyone sponsor us in particular, we're still have some open slots. Okay, they might all be open, but a reminder, we do have a Patreon, and you can find the links to the things that Matt uses below. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the support and the excitement that I've gotten, and we're just going to keep on rolling. So thank you, and we're back to the podcast.
Well, too, I really relate to that, like in the video world too. I'm learning through YouTube all the time, right? Learning, how to do podcasts and how to do vlog and how to do all sorts of stuff. And it's so easy to just start like trying to replicate the things that you're seeing. Yeah. And I think in the beginning it can be really helpful, but then you can lose yourself completely. And especially it's to connect back to what we were saying before as well, is like, especially when you have that outcome that you're like money or whatever it is, like career, money at the end, you just lose yourself in like, oh, I need to do it this way so that I can get to that thing at the end. And that too, like when there's, like for me too, when I was younger, I feel like there was this sort of insecurity where I was like looking for this perfect thing or perfect way to be or something. And I'm like trying all these different styles. And all I had to do was be myself. But like sometimes it's like the hardest thing.
Yeah, true.
And then too, for companies too, it's like companies are like a collective reflection of the people that are in it, especially the people that are leading the ship at the top. Yeah. And then if there's any sense of scarcity, that can like start to seep into the message and start to seep into like, oh, we need to focus on these metrics. Yeah, and then you're like, you know what, like, is it that big of a deal? Like we need to get, like, own our backyard and be a part of our backyard. Like, and then too, when you're like, we want to grow this thing and like take it to the moon, then you start really focusing on these other things and it like sucks the soul out of it. That's just like this. It's like, if I was so focused on being the number one podcast, rather than like, let's have the best conversations we can. Like, I know there's other podcasts, like they're thinking about that a little bit, who can I have on? How are we going to talk? Whatever. But if I'm so focused on that, like it's going to lose so much of the soul of it. And like, same with the vlogs and things and like making content. It's like, it loses that soul and that like authenticity. And so like this journey for me has just been like, coming back to like who I am and like being able to be authentically myself. And what you mentioned before, like being a passionate person, like I didn't even know how to do that when I was younger, because I was so focused on like finding the career that's like, what am I passionate about? Like I didn't realize that like you are a passionate person. You take passion into everything that you do. You don't have one passion. Because I was so focused on the money, the career, the outcome, I thought that I had to choose this one passion. And it totally, like, I had all this existential dread and I was miserable trying to find this. And learning to be a passionate person and knowing there's no right path, just like there's no perfect art. You just do what is most interesting to you at the time and like do it so beautifully and it well. And it's like the, you know, like the attraction, law of attraction or something like that. I'm not sure. But also I wanted to connect back to something you said earlier about like being an inspiration for other artists and connecting community. And you mentioning the YouTube channel. And it's called Lacross Collective. Is that right?
Lacross Collective is the kind of our kind of parent company in a way of the different things that we want to do, the umbrella, and then the kind of lead is inspire and connect. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked the idea of collective in a way, just because it's all inclusive. You know, it doesn't pigeonhole you. And what you said, like about titling and stuff, that was a big thing when I was in alternative sports. Is, you know, growing up, like, oh, you're a skateboarder, you're a BMX, you're a surfer, and they get so. I think people get comfortable in their titling themselves, like, I'm a skateboarder.
Even an artist,
you're just a skateboarder.
Even an artist, like I've never felt comfortable calling myself an artist, but like a creator, that's more. But there's like the artist title, even like that kind of takes on a persona, and then people have their opinions about what that is. Like, we love boxes and hate boxes at the same time, but it's really difficult to be like, especially like really diverse, passionate people. Like,
well, even within a company like a K2, you had the ski department, you had the snowboard department, you had the inline skate department, and they were all separate. People, we all work for the same company. I mean, we're all doing the same shit. I can snowboard, I can ski, and I can inline skate. What's the difference? So I was the first person to ever cross all three of them. I did an ad because K2 American, red, white, and blue. I did an ad, ski, skateboard, or snowboard and inline skate, all in the same one. First time anybody's ever done it. And they're like, oh, but hey, dude, the future is Shaun White's, is the Travis Pastrana's. It's the people that can do everything good. I mean, and that's what all people are. So one of the experiments I used to do, and to kind of break down boundaries, when I'd go to a skate park, and I'd do this all over the world, I'd have my BMX bike, my skateboard, and my inline skates. Skateboarding is the most attitude out of any sport. And a lot of the biggest, I won't get into it, but some of the biggest babies I've ever met in my life. I mean, the people think, oh, skateboarding's so core. There's an element, but I'm telling you, I traveled the world with, they're not the coolest people I've ever met. So I would start off with their most fragile egos, I'll tell you. So I would start out at a skate park with my skateboard. I'd cruise around. And I'm not saying I'm super awesome, but you know, I know how to ride. So I'd start off with a skateboard. Everybody sees me out, they're rolling. Then I'd go get my BMX bike, because in hierarchy, it's kind of that right now. People like, hold on, I've been riding since I was a little kid, so I know how to ride a bike. So I was ripping the skate park, you know, and people like, weren't you just on a skateboard? And so they wakes them up. Then I'd go get my inline skates. I've been skating for a long time too, so I can ride those good. And dude, the whole skate park would change. Kids would come up, hey dude, can I try your bike? Hey, can I try your skateboard? Hey, can I try your inline skates? It broke the walls down, and kids could be kids. And I'm just like, that's what it's about. You got to break the walls down. You got to show people that don't need to label yourself, man. You don't need to just be a skateboarder or just a surfer or just a skate. Do everything, man. Because I'll go out and I can kick a lot of people's butt on all these sports because I do everything. Because I just love sports, you know. And that's the same thing. I'm an artist. Who gives a shit? I don't care. I do art, and I ride BMX, and I love cars. And if you're a passionate person, don't stereotype me into anything, you know. And I think that's what I've learned about life in a way, is just, man, be open-minded, you know, and don't just, that guy, he likes that kind of car, so he's a dick. Okay, if you love cars, you love cars, man.
Except for Maserati drivers.
That's true. That's true. Well, I remember I'd be in bars or something talking to a guy, well, fuck, I only drive Fords. I hate BMWs. Like, okay. Have you ever driven one? Well, they'll kick the shit out of your car. Like, I'm telling you, as far as the drive and the passion and the personality, they're way better. I mean, again, everybody's got, I mean, that's a slippery slope talking cars, but I don't give a shit. Totally. If you haven't driven something then
Yeah.
don't talk to me about
Yeah.
it. Your opinion doesn't mean shit because you don't know what you're talking about. I only take wisdom in a way from people that have really experienced things. And if you haven't, then don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear it, you know.
People really just like, they love to have opinions about things. And then like, we also like, you know, kind of close-minded sometimes.
I agree.
Like, skate parks though, I used to skate when I was younger, and, you know, it kind of is like the coffee shop in a way too, where you might come every day, but like, and see other people, but like, do you ever talk to them? And there is this weird disconnect. It's like, there's so much tension and weird stuff, especially if you're riding different things. It's like the BMXers hang out with the BMXers, the inline skaters hang out with the inline skaters, and the skaters hang out with the other skaters. And, I don't know. I didn't realize it as a kid, but it's like, I don't know why we weren't all just talking to each other. We're there all the time. Like, try some different things, hang out, and like, you'd have your little clique, and then like, that's it. But
now they hate the scooters.
now
somebody's got to hate somebody else, and it's got to hate this guy and that guy. And I mean, I went to the Seattle skate park one time when it was around. Now it's the Gates Foundation, and I pulled up. Man, I had a killer 97 M3 sedan, black rims, tinted, all this kind of stuff. And there was a bunch of people skateboarding primarily. I mean, that's really all that was there. It was probably 25 people. And I rolled up. It was getting a little bit later. I was like, hey, man, is the park still open? This guy's like, yeah. So I bust out my inline skates, right? And I go skate around.
Yeah.
And this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, dude, you should probably go look at your car. And I was like, why? If somebody did something to it, I can't do anything about it. I'm going to keep skating. And he's like, really? And I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it, dude? If they did something, what's going to change? And so he was like, oh, well, yeah, I think they kind of fucked it up a little bit. Like, I got insurance. I mean, whatever. And so I said, well, why are you skating on those inline skates? I'm like, because it's fun as shit. I said, what does it matter? I said, I helped get this skate park here, and you don't even know who I am. I was like, I used to manage Greg's skateboard shop. I used to work at Marley's skateboard shop. Yeah. I worked at K2 for 7 years in alternative sports. I've been with the best skateboarders in the world. He's like, oh, really? Like, kind of was like, oh shit. So I go up to my car. There's, like I said, 25 dudes standing around kind of laughing. They pissed all over the side of my car and keyed "fuck you" on the whole side of my car. Glass, doors, it said "fuck you" down the whole side of my car. And I was like, oh, this is pretty funny, you guys. In front of all of them, I opened up my trunk. I pulled out my skateboard. Foundation skateboard, Indy trucks, ABAC 11 wheels, the baddest, the bad. And all of them were kind of like, ugh. You don't know who I am. You don't know what my background is. You don't know anything, but you just assume he's on inline skates. Fuck him. He's, let's key his car. And I was like, hey, and guess what? I got insurance. I'm going to have this fixed in about a week, and it's going to be perfect. And,
it's totally,
But it's an interesting thing. When we were obviously doing inline skates, the skateboard industry was having an issue with K2 because what happened is the presidents, they started buying companies, buying people. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew we were going the wrong direction. So like in San Francisco, there was this massive hillside next to the freeway. They took a tractor and wrote "fuck K2" on the side of it. I mean, it was bad. Like they were making stickers that said "K2, you can't buy your way into the industry." Oh, wow. Because they were getting into surf and skateboard. Yeah. So they started fucking with K2 a bit. And I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. This is not this. You don't know the people at K2. Yeah. You're going after the president and his henchmen at the moment. You don't know the people at K2. And the people that worked at K2 on Vashon were some of the nicest people you've ever met in your life. So I fired back. So you ever hear of Big Brother Skateboard Magazine?
Oh, maybe.
Big Brother was owned by Penthouse. Oh. They could do whatever they wanted. Yeah. Big Brother was the precursor to Jackass. Oh, that's where it came from. That's where it started. Oh, wow. And so I inducted Big Brother into the Roller Booty Hall of Fame. I made him some pink inline skates that said Big Brother on them. Oh, yeah. The editor, Dave Carney, called me and said that was the best thing the inline industry's ever done. We basically told him to fuck off. Like, in a fun, we were just messing with him. There's a skate video called Boob. He's on the cover in a gold one-piece outfit on those skates with sunglasses and a helmet.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
That's awesome.
And then Foundation Skateboards started spouting off. So I wrote them a letter telling them where they could go. Was it Foundation or Consolidated, one of the two. And again, they put it in an ad, my letter. And I'm just like, you guys are, you're being a bunch of dicks. I don't even care. I will tell you to fuck up. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then, dude, this is one of the funniest things. I make my own clothing and shirts and everything. Yeah. So they're a girl skateboard company. Yeah. They have a little logo at the time, and it was like a little wooden doll sitting on a skateboard. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I took that, put it on a shirt, and said, "Be a dick, ride a skateboard." I went to the biggest ASR, which is the biggest action sports retailer showing in California. I walked around the whole show wearing that shirt, and people were like, because they obviously assume perception is reality.
Yeah.
That's a girl skateboard shirt.
Yeah.
But it's saying, people were just like looking at it like
wait a minute.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't tell anybody. I don't care if you're being an asshole, you're being an asshole. And it was so much fun, dude. I love doing stuff like that.
That's awesome. I mean, it is like all of them are like such a rebellious atmosphere. So then too, it's funny to, be in that atmosphere and then get all worked up if someone does something or say something. It's like, do you know who you're like working with? It's like, this is all just for like, it's for fun. Sure, there's emotions, you get heated a little bit, but it's like, at the end of the day, like we're just having a good time and like razzing each other and we're joking around. Yeah. And that's like that same environment at the skate park too. It's like, I mean, sometimes it goes a little too far, but
well, I mean, like you talked about in owning your, we talk about owning your backyard. It's the long game with alternative sports because it's about respect and you earn the respect. Yeah. And so when I at K2 we were going to get into BMX, and man, we grew up riding BMX in Washington. I mean, we know everything about it. So for people to say that, because people were saying K2 you can't get into BMX, I'm like, you don't even know who you're talking to. Yeah. And so I had two of the most famous BMX riders come up to me on the same day at a party and say K2 will never succeed in BMX.
You're like,
One year later, I didn't go to them. They came to me for contracts. That's what I always say too, is I'm never going to tell anybody how good I am. You're going to tell me how good we're doing. Yeah. And that was the ultimate sign of respect, because they rode for the most respected BMX company in the industry. They were coming to me because they knew that we represented street, you know what I mean, and dirt jumpers in Washington. And if you believe in yourself and know you're doing it for the right reasons, they're going to come around because they're going to see you're authentic like you and what you do. You're not fake in any way. And people see that and they gravitate towards it in the long run. You know what I mean? So where these companies want to go big ad campaigns, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You don't even need to do that shit if you're authentic, because like LibTech snowboards locally or something, those guys are badasses because they live it, man. They surf, they skateboard, they snowboard. I mean, they live what they do, and they have real artists like Jamie Lynn doing art. I mean, that's the passion. And so they've succeeded forever and still stayed core. They got bought off by Quicksilver for a while, but then they own them themselves again now. And they've lasted as long as they have because they do what they live for, and they do what they say they're doing, So
yeah, I have a LibTech snowboard too.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
It's so cool to like have a local company too, and it's like so neat.
Yeah. And K2 could have been that as well. Yeah. If they just would have stayed true to what they did, and not got rid of all the best people, So.
Yeah. So speaking about what companies do, and like, so your YouTube channel, is the collective like your intention to like bring people together, or like kind of like the collective aspect of it?
Yeah. So kind of like what you're doing, as well as we want to showcase people from all over the world doing art and creating, or whether it's building cars to drawing and painting or photography or anything, and really just, like I said, kind of that connection part, just bring people together from all over the world who believe that we need this connection right now more than anything. And so that's kind of what we're doing, as well as kind of a groundswell. We've launched about 8 videos so far. And right now it's kind of been a little bit more about my background and the why we're at the point we are at the moment, and my creative process, and how to try and motivate people to not be afraid to just create, whether it's
Yeah.
good or bad or whatever it is. But the point is just to create. And so that's kind of what we're starting with. And this next chapter will be a little bit more of me, and I call it kind of the gift in a way, because it was a gift for me of experiencing one-liners or continuous line ink drawings. To me, it's just an incredible outlet. I mean, that's why I've been doing it for over 25 years, because it's, as long as you can move your hand, you can create artwork, and it's beautiful. Yeah. And especially what I do is when I create, I tap into the emotion in an artist's voice. So like right now I listen to Damian Rice, I'm listening to Alexi Murdoch and Amos Lee. God, some of the most soulful, painful music I've ever heard, and it's incredible. And so when I start my drawing, as soon as that music starts or that song starts, I put the pen down and I do the whole drawing while I'm flowing with that emotion I'm picking up in that artist's voice.
Oh, cool.
And it's just beautiful. To me, it's not trying to, I'm going to draw a dog or a Tupac's face, or it's just committing to the thought and letting it be what it is. And like I said, not arguing with what wants to come out. And I just flow and flow and flow. And I could draw 20, 30 drawings in a row. And maybe personally, I don't connect with any of them. But then I stumble into one and I'm like, oh my God, there it is. A new shape, a new line or something. And to me, it's just beautiful. Whether people understand it or call it, oh, that's not good art or this, and I don't even give a shit. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And that's, to me, that's my artistic journey, is just going and going and just, my paper is 9x12. I use the same pen. So my discipline and my tools are the same. So I'm kind of regimented as far as what I use. And then it's just as simple as black and white, man. It's just creating and seeing what comes out. And I'm even surprised, like, holy shit, where did that come from? And it's just this constant evolution of form. And it's just, and what I want to give to people is, from little kids to the elder, anybody, as long as you can move your hand, you can do this form of artwork. And it's not like you've got to master acrylics or oils or anything and still lifes and all this stuff. And because, like we talked about earlier, a lot of people, they just replicate. And it's just like they just, you see these schools in China and stuff, and that's all they do is they're taught to replicate art masters' artworks. You're not creating and giving anything to the art world that's new and refreshing. It's just, oh, look, there's another rendering of this person's face, or I've drawn a dog, or oh my God, that stuff makes me want to throw up. I mean, it's like, but what did you give to the art world? You just made the same thing that guy next to you, like my art class, right? You just replicate it. It's the same thing. It looks exactly the same. It's like, so is that art or is that a craft? You've learned a craft, but you're not creative at all. And it's kind of like, tapping into photography. It's not the camera. It's, did you make an aesthetically pleasing, cool photo that people like? Like, I shot the back of a 1957 Cadillac, and it's a face. It looks like an alien face. It's crazy. But I post that on like fine art photos, and my thing gets like 15,000 likes. Which is more than almost any photo on the whole page. And these are fine art photographers. And I shot this with an iPhone and edited it in Snapseed, but people love it. And so here's a guy that maybe is way technically better than me, but his photo's not that interesting. I mean,
composition is everything. It is, like, and with anything that you're doing, it's like, you can, if you have the skill, but if you don't have the vision for what it is, I mean, it's still good and great too, but like video and photography and everything, it's like how to make it an interesting scene and something different and replicate it.
And you don't have to be a professional to do that in a way. I mean, it's good to know your tools, but I mean, look how many people have made incredibly successful things on an iPhone or whatever it is, cameras. It's, you don't have a $1 million production facility here, but you're making it, you're doing it.
We're doing it. I kind of like that it's like this, like lower, like it's easy, it's simple,
this is
like
so comfortable and casual.
Like talking about like simplicity. Like I have another friend that started a podcast recently. They're like at a professional studio. They got like the soundproof booth and like the soundboard. It's like tens of thousands of dollars. I'm like, I don't know if I want to make it that complicated. Because like you said way earlier, like it just makes it more complicated. And like, you can produce something great, but sometimes it creates a barrier where like, did it really need to be that to be this amazing conversation that maybe is inspiring? Like if the heart is there, like people can feel it.
Yeah, that's right.
I was curious, talking about your process, continuous line drawing. Did you start there like as a young artist, or did you like dabble with other types of things? Like,
well, I've always liked drawing. So when I was diagnosed in first grade with dyslexia, so, and then I kind of learned I was a kinesthetic learner, but it took me a while to find that out. So I just thought that, I mean, honestly, I thought it was stupid. You know what I mean? That I don't know these things. I can't learn this way. But then I just learned that was, the teachers weren't equipped to teach somebody that saw things or felt things the way I needed to see them, feel them, touch them. And once I learned that that's how I am, then, I understood. And then later, my mom actually said I was tested as a genius level as a kid. Well, I never knew that. So it's like, that would have been good information to know. I just felt stupid, So once I kind of...
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you could have told me that earlier. I felt stupid. But once I understood, I learned differently or saw the world differently, then it became my superpower. And I'm left-handed, too. So left-handed, dyslexic, kinesthetic learner, which it's funny, you look in business, we're highly sought after because we don't see it the same way. We see things differently, and so I learned that about myself, that you can give me a product or put me in a situation and say, I will come up with something different than anybody else. I'll guarantee it. It's just a cool thing, right? You just look at the world differently. And so when I was in college for a little bit, in one of my art classes, we had to replicate a master's artwork, and I totally procrastinated. But I came across a book of Picasso's one-liners, and that's where I came across this. And I just fell in love with it. It taught me a lesson in simplicity and how challenging simplicity can be. But once I incorporated the music to it, it just was a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Creation. And now I've just taken off with it. And what's cool is people now, they like, as soon as I see one of your pictures, I know it's your artwork. Because you have a style that you've developed that's unlike anything else. And again, whether you like my art or not, I've developed my own style, and people appreciate. I had it on a snowboard that was actually owned by Quicksilver, and they owned Liptech at the time, and my artwork's on one of their boards, which is killer,
That's
So,
awesome.
But it's fun to see your artwork out in the world. I've shown my work all over the Pacific Northwest, and but yeah, once I came across that technique, photography. I think photography's easy-ish because your subject's already right in front of you. And there's people, again, that are masters at their craft and make it look incredible and all. But you don't have a blank canvas in a way. It's already right there, an apple, a car, or whatever. It's right in front of you. So you're putting your spin on it and you're doing your thing, but it's already there. So I find that's kind of easy. For me, I'm starting off with nothing. And I'm not looking at anything. I'm not sketching anything. I'm literally just, boom, it's one shot in ink. There's no do-overs. And I love that about it because it's, when I'm doing some of these, it really is, it's almost painful because you can't see what you're doing. You're just going blind. You're just like, okay, I think I'm going the right direction. And again, kind of committing to that. But that pain and discomfort, kind of like in life, being broke, that's very it's very uncomfortable. I mean, if you're okay with being uncomfortable, you could be an artist. But if you need stability, it's not probably the right path to go if you're trying to be an artist, man. It's stressful. And,
totally.
Oh my gosh.
Are people going to buy anything?
But that's where I came across the technique of that style of art is Picasso. And some of the, the people, there's only one book I've ever come across of his one-liners. But there's a little excerpt in there. It says deceptive simplicity, which is true. But then it says that some of the critics say that's his best work because you see every movement. And it's not masked by paint or changes, or it is what it is. And I like that about it. It's just that definitive line that can't be changed. So
have you ever thought about doing a book?
I would like to do a book at some point. And that's kind of, I think, what the video is right now in a way is kind of capturing my story or process and stuff of how I create.
Yeah, because like I was just imagining this book where it's like a, you know, a coffee table book, you know, picking some of your favorite pieces, but then also maybe even like getting the photo of the scene, where you drew it.
Okay.
And then also like, you know, music is so important in your process, like what you were feeling, what you were listening to in the whole process, and having the story of the experience of drawing it as this thing. I think that'd be a pretty neat.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because that's something I've wrestled with in a way, is even the process of being inspired to just create, stopping and putting the name of the song down, even that slows the process. It limits it limits the process of creating, because you're like, okay, well now I got to stop and hold on, I got to write the thing down. It breaks. Now you're out of the groove of the inspiration that you even have to start, which is interesting.
And it's interesting, like, because you're creating, you're doing your continuous line drawings. It's simplified. It's the process. But then if you start doing it with the intention of making the book, then you're not creating the drawings, you're creating the book.
That's right.
And it's going to have a whole different feel to the whole thing.
It is.
It's interesting. Like, video is like that too, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, but now I'm making a video about going to do this thing. And it's like, I have to, for myself too, like anything like this, I think doing a book like that too would be like, you have to find the balance where, like, I'm still, like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't film, like intentionally, because like, I just want to be immersed in the process.
That's right.
And then there's times where I'm like, I have to get into a different mindset. It's like, okay, I'm filming now.
It's the business mindset.
This is the business mindset. I'm like thinking about composition, angles, and different things like that. What I'm going to say sometimes. And I try to make it authentic, but then it's like, you're making a video. You're not just walking a dog or like whatever it is. I was curious, like, knowing how important music is. Do you have specific headphones that you listen to, or like, have you tried different ones over time, or?
So I did over the ears for a while, and the only reason I don't have over the ears still is that you got to carry them around, and they don't fit in my case. And so I've got the Sonys now, and I did a bunch of research, and I tried a bunch of different ones, and the Sonys are just the most musical headphones I've come across. And so to me, it's like, you know, it's like driving a Ferrari or whatever, or a BMW. To me, it's the experience of that product, and it's got to be good. You know what I mean? And they're like $350. They're not crazy, and then I use the Tidal app again, which is the best sound quality app I've ever come across. It's critical. I mean, to me, it's like I need to hear the best sound, you know, with my art and stuff. And again, that's just the passion, right? I'm passionate for the music and the artist. I mean, you can hear every detail in these people's voice, and it's ridiculous. And that's again where I try to be aware of, even in the coffee shop, I'm like, okay, I know 3 hours is probably pushing it, like, to be there. Like, so I try to regulate, even just for your own, you know, the coffee shops and the business owners. But dude, I could sit there 8 hours easily. Because even at 3 hours or 4 hours, I'm like, God, is it really time to go? I mean, seriously, I burn through that time like it's nothing. Every day when I'm there, I'm just like, oh, fuck, it's 3 hours already, damn, I gotta go, you know. But I don't want to go. I want to sit there all day and draw. And I could drive, I could have 5 coffees and sit there all day and draw. I just, that passion for creation, I could sit there all day easily. So I do that. But
do you have any coffee shops that are your favorite to sit in? Like,
I'm going to say Lander. And it's really funny because obviously the coffee shop has to feel right. It's all about the feel. And I think one of the things I've narrowed down, because I've drawn in a lot of coffee shops in Washington or Seattle and Tacoma now, wood. I think that's what it's come down to. The more wood, the better the feel of the coffee shop. I used to draw, when I lived in Green Lake, I used to draw Zoka Coffee in Tangletown. And I drew there for years, man. I love the feel of it. I really like Lander. That's my favorite. I will draw at Olympia sometime, although Olympia is cold. It's kind of a cold feel to it. It's a block away from my house, so it's convenient. I like to not maybe have to get in the car every day. But Lander for sure. And then in Seattle, Zoka kind of died off because it's a lot of it is the personality of the people. And obviously if if you're not going to be there, if you ever left, it would change that place quite a bit. I think you really, your energy there is, I appreciate the most out of anybody that's there. And I think that's part of the draw for me, as well as I'll get comfortable in a place. And so I like the comfortable bit, but I enjoy our conversations all the time. And it's kind of funny because I know you've got to rotate with all the different people you talk to. So I try and limit my time with you as well. But I've always enjoyed our conversations, and it's cool to be able to do this and welcoming me into your home and to have a conversation. But I've always felt that you and I have had a good connection and stuff, and on similar paths in life. I know when you share information with me, it's vulnerable. And I think even Dawn, the bread company, another just down-to-earth person and cool and no filters. I really enjoy that.
I love there's like I've always loved our conversations too. And you're part of kind of like the early morning conversation, whereas like you guys that come in earlier, we get to like there's less people coming in, so we do get to like hang out and talk a little bit. And so I that's what I look forward to, is getting to chat with you all. And like a little bit later in the day, it's like, all right, we're moving through it and stuff. And it's like less chit chat. And then my coworkers like, come on.
Stop talking to me. I've always been curious. So do you ever I mean, I know you're a smart person, but so do you ever do social experiments with today I'm going to try something because you're going to be there, like you said. And so do you ever try different things to see how people respond? Or
I have, like, more subtly, less like orchestrated over time. But I've been doing it, in the customer service for, I mean, probably decades at this point. And there's little things you start to notice over time. And some of the things you just kind of learn, like observation is like understanding how people are. Like most people that come into a coffee shop, they're not ready to connect or see you as a person or have a conversation. And not in like a bad way, like, oh, this person's here just to serve me, whatever. We're just not in the habit of connecting that. Like we're so disconnected, and we just like, you're ringing up at a grocery store and that person's just tallying up your food. They're not your neighbor. You're not, like, we don't think of it like that, even though they are. And so when people come in, they're a little shut down. Sure. And one of the things, like, I notice, like, it's like really allowed me to develop as a person, like conversationally, emotionally, emotional intelligence. And like one of the things I noticed is that, hi, how are you doing is not a question, it's a greeting. Okay. It's like, you go, hey, how's it going? And he's like, good. How are you? Good. And that's just greeting. Like you're not really, some people will like have a little variation, but mostly the first round is just a greeting. Sure. And what I've learned is I go through that, and then I get their order, and then I'll say, how are you doing? Like, how's it going? And then it's like that second time, it's like people wake up and they're like, oh, now I have to think about it. And like, how am I doing? And like, I genuinely want to know. I know it's like, a lot, we're just going through the motions most of the time, but that's one of my favorite things is like realizing little things like that. The other type of little, I've done different things over the years. I'll ask people random questions, but right now, over the last couple of months, I've been on a kick of like asking people about sayings. So like the last few weeks was horse quotes. And so, that's cool. So it's like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like, what the heck? Like, where did that come from? Right. Or like, the other one we figured out was straight from the horse's mouth, which is like, horses don't talk. They're not truthful. Like, what is that all about? And so we got to the bottom of it. And I also like to like try to have that conversation, ask people, and try to figure it out without Googling something or without looking it up. That's cool. Just because it's interesting. Like, it's kind of this creative process. It's like, let's try to come up with what we think the answer could be.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it like gets the mind going, just like creating any sort of art too. It's like not mimic it. Like you could just look it up and it's done, but you didn't do any of the processing to like
AI
create.
or something.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like,
come up
let's
with
just,
the concept.
ask ChatGPT.
That's right.
Which there's, amazing value in AI.
Yeah,
and I know people are going to use it for some amazing things and to help life and make life better and things like that. But I think that like that, there's going to be the balance too, where it's like spending time just to create, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And same thing, like with art too, like you can have all the AIs do all the artwork, but then it's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, it's just another way. Like it is art in itself, but it's just another variation.
Yeah.
So having the human aspect too, it's like, or like there will just be different choices. Like you can have AI do it. You can even have AI do the photography or whatever, or you can have a professional come
refine
do it. And it's like a different experience, different choice.
Even if you ask ChatGPT, what are some of the more valuable careers in the future with AI?
Oh yeah.
Being an artist is one of them.
Oh, interesting.
AI is it's artificial intelligence. It can't create what I can create in my head. It doesn't have that abstract thought that I can come up with, and it won't make a mistake on its own. You know what I mean? So I looked that up recently. I'm like, because my fiance's a hospice nurse, and so Bill Gates or people talk about that doctors might be obsolete eventually, but there will always be the human element that artificial intelligence can't replicate. And as an artist, it doesn't have that way of thinking abstract in a way. It can get a prompt. You can say, hey, make me this weird thing, and it can generate it. But it can't come up with the ideas I come up with or any other person.
Yeah.
So our uniqueness and individuality is really going to be the most valuable tool moving forward, that creative aspect. And that's what's exciting is I'm going in the right direction of being an artist, or creating, what I mean? So
same in the coffee world too. It's like AI, machines making your drinks, and there's machines that can make your whole latte, put art on it, and serve it out to you. Yeah. But the thing is like not everyone wants a machine.
That's right.
Like the conversation, the coffee shop, like there's value in that. It's
experience.
And it's like you can have the machine that makes it, but there will still just be a choice. It's a different experience. It's not, there's pros and cons to each one of them. Maybe the robot gets your coffee right more often than the others. It does it does know what you want.
Type your name properly spelled too. It's incredible.
Did it ask you if you know the straight from the horse's mouth saying the experience of being in the coffee shop? Probably not. So what's next for you? It's like you've got the YouTube, maybe the car. I want to say car gallery, but I know it's art gallery and a car dealership.
And that's the Motorsport Collective is kind of what we're, and again, collective. And so we had a place before, and so again, art gallery, car location. And there's a website called Bring a Trailer, really successful, and so you basically just do auctions, and so that's kind of what our idea is to start with. Again, is that most all of our cars will be auctions, but the vision I've had for cars, again, not financial, but and part of the collective is that you have an art gallery, you have a coffee shop, you have obviously you sell cars, you sell memorabilia. It's more of again a gathering place, a community place, because why just have a cool car and bring it out on a Saturday? Why not, again, like living a passionate life? Drive it every day. What are you saving the miles for the next person to, it's like, come on, experience, and live that passionate life, I was going to say in the coffee, I've noticed recently at Olympia that, they've got they've already made it for you and you just pop. What's the point? It's like you like, it makes me think, like, why did you get up today? Like, what motivated you to like live? Like, you just, gotta pop in, grab my coffee. Oh. Yeah. Are you living? Are you really enjoying life? Like, and I'm not saying that what I do or anybody's better, but like, I'm enjoying, like, this is my community, and I'm going to enjoy the coffee shop, the atmosphere. I can make coffee at home. I got a Keurig. I can make it for 2 cents. I'm paying $8 for a coffee. because of the experience I'm getting, not to be social, to have a conversation, to be a part of my community, not just drink coffee, like, and that's why I do my art in a community setting and people around me. And one thing I was going to say too, which is kind of interesting, is the people that just kind of do the same thing every day. You remember years ago, the same group of people would come in every day in Lodrow in West Seattle. And one time this woman stepped out of line, and I watched her for a while with everybody else. She stepped out of line and went, "Seeing you draw every day has motivated me to start painting again."
Wow.
And she stepped back in line.
That's awesome.
Even just maybe that you didn't interact with somebody, but you opened a door that you never knew you did just by being present and being there. And, but I think that's one of the biggest things is like the conversation with people at the register. Most people aren't present at all. That's why they can go, "I want a coffee," and gone, because they're not even there. You know what I mean? But the people that stop and have a conversation and see the person in front of them as a person, I don't care if it's a grocery store, I don't care where it is, be present. It's like the experiments they do where they take a world-renowned musician and stick them in the subway, and people just walk by him. But he's got a sold-out show at Carnegie Hall or wherever it is. People are paying hundreds of dollars for a ticket. Here he is, right in front of you. Nobody even. It was just some pain. Nobody. You're not present at all.
Yeah, we're not. It's like it's a funny thing. Like when you're so focused on the end goal, like everything in the way is an obstacle, and you miss everything. You're not like being aware and appreciating the journey that you're on.
I mean, what if you think about someone like a Picasso or somebody. What if Picasso was sitting in the lander? Or, I mean, what if I was the next Picasso where people just walk by all day long, but here this guy's things could be worth millions of dollars one day, and then they'll be serious about it. But right now, he just walk right past you.
And then I'm mad at him because he asked me to warm up his cinnamon roll. It's like, God, this guy is so neat.
Oh my God,
no,
right?
I'm kidding.
But people, and when because I do all this Instacarting, and in wording, I've learned that the checkout people don't really like us very much because they're like, "Oh, Instacart," because most people, that's just, "I'm Instacart," they're gone.
Well,
but I stop them and I go, "How's the day treating you?"
Yeah.
Oh my God, these women love me.
That's cool you
talk.
say that because we will get Instacart deliveries.
Oh yeah.
And I can see why it gets reciprocated, I think, because a lot of the Instacart people that I met, no offense to any Instacarters out there, but a lot of them too are just like, they're not connected either. They're just like, I'm doing this to make money. I don't really care about this stuff, or like they don't want to know you or anything. You're just one of the deliveries, and it's just an obstacle to get to the next one.
It's the same amount of time you got to stand there anyways while they're checking it. Why not connect with that person, get to know them? What do they like? What do they do? I mean, I've met so many checkers now. It's like, oh, you do artwork as well? Or you're a musician or you're a student? But I mean, it's cool. Make the effort. It only takes a second.
And totally like the choice about how you have your experience. Because like in this Instacart scenario, same thing with people coming to get their coffee. It's like, Instacart, if you're just like trying to do the deliveries like as quickly as possible, like you're just going to see everything as an inconvenience rather than like, I'm going to enjoy this process. Like I get to go in this store, look for these things that I've never even thought about buying. Maybe I get to talk to this person that's here, and then I get to go to someone's house and like potentially like meet some random person and like be delivering their diapers or whatever they're ordering, but it's like, you can go through it where it's like, God, this person's not ringing me up fast enough. I got to be somewhere versus like at the coffee shop too. Like there's so many people that are like, I'm late to work right now. I'm stressed out and I need you to like pick it up a little bit.
I can't believe there's people in front of me at a coffee shop.
It's like, why is this line here? Like, don't like you guys. Versus like you could go in and be like, I'm going to enjoy this. Like I'm here having someone make me a drink in this beautiful place. And
be appreciative, right? I mean, it's like you can afford this cup of coffee.
Like
10 times what a home one
like you're paying you're paying for this. For me to make it for you. And like
skilled, artisan to be able to make this good of a coffee. Like, you should appreciate that. Slow down.
Slow down. Like we'll get the work will be there. You'll get there.
I was in a Home Depot a little bit ago, and it was funny. Like you can. To me, it's like you can make these random encounters fun. And there was this elderly couple, and the guy was in a wheelchair, or wheelchair kind of thing, and his wife was pushing. And they got to be in their mid to upper 80s, and they were just down like this, and I just walked up next to him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, we're gonna actually have to have you slow down a little bit." And we were going like so slow, and dude, he just went, just started laughing, dude. He's like, "That's so funny." But awesome. I mean, just random things to just, I like you. I love people, man. I don't care about colors. I like, if you're a nice person, you're a nice person. I don't care. There's people that are dicks and whatever, but God, people are people, man. Just be cool to everybody, and not the egos and attitudes and this image you're trying to portray or this. And just most people are good, man. I mean, I've been all over the world, and I've met so many cool people, and there's an occasional asshole, but primarily people
usually
are
they're
doing
just
the
having
same
a
thing.
bad day too. That's one thing about the coffee shop is it's like a neutral ground, and like people will share with me, like I'm pretty nosy, so I'm political beliefs, spiritual beliefs, judgments, these things. And it's so amazing to see where I know these two people have like some fundamental difference of opinions about things. And they can still come together and like be civil and kind to each other in this space. And I think that's like such a beautiful part of it, is this neutral ground.
Heineken did a commercial on that real quick. You ever see it? It's incredible. It's probably the best commercial I've ever seen. They did that. They asked people about their beliefs individually, men, female, everything. And I mean, very opposing difference. Then they had to make a piece of furniture together, put something together, and they didn't know their opinions. They became best friends. And then they showed them the videos that the other person said, and people were like, whoa. And then they were like, do you guys want to have a beer together? And people were like, yeah.
Wow.
And it was incredible. I mean,
that's
just that you could have these things. But when you got to know somebody, took the time, be present, you're like, oh my God, they have a family, they have a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever their lives are like. We're all just
people
same,
being
man.
people.
I mean, you can.
That's why I love to say,
opinion,
because everyone's different. I just love like people being people. That's all it is.
That's right.
We're all just being different.
Yeah, exactly. We got our own views and beliefs, but we're all people at the end of the day. Almost everybody wants the same thing in life, and
money,
a nice home and comfort, and someone that loves them or whatever, or travel or this and that. But it's we're all the same at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And just don't get hung up on yourself. You know what I mean? So much that you can't see somebody else for themselves as well. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Just looking for the same things.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, for coming on the show. I'll look forward to seeing what's next. And that the YouTube content has been really amazing. You're working with Steve, who it's amazing, like the people that do the behind the scenes work of some of this stuff too. He's such a talented videographer, and it's really looking really good. And then
I appreciate it.
Totally look forward to hearing more about any developments with the art space or the car dealership and stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things going on right now, and I think as a creative, kind of like you were talking about before, when you have to switch to the business mind in a way, you don't always have to. You can get people to help you, and I think that's part of it. Like Steve coming on. I mean, Steve just said, dude, I believe in your vision and I like what you're doing. I'm here. I'm going to put my time into, and let's do this together. And I think that's kind of the collective part of it, is just collaborate. There's business people, there's artists, there's videographers, cinematographers. Just find people that believe in your vision. And I think you can do it, and not have to struggle and have to think of, I got to do the creative and the business side and the marketing and all, because it's overwhelming. It's a lot. But if you have a vision and you can get other people behind that and that support you and do it together, collaboration, I think that's going to help out a lot. So I'm excited to work with some of these people coming up. My business partner, Conrad, that wants to do the car stuff, and Steve that wants to do the video and the art. And it's just, it's exciting to kind of work with a bunch of people and open as many doors as you can, and have fun.
That's amazing. And that energy too is so inspiring. It's like, Yeah, it's just so much more motivating to have someone else, like feeding off of someone else and like moving towards these same exciting goals and passions.
Oh yeah, and to me too, what I've learned is you just have to be relentless about your vision. Just stick to it. Don't divert from it, but just. You might go broke. You might have some money. You might lose it. I mean, that's what I've learned too. Is that people say, "Oh, life is short." No, it's not. Life is long. I mean, it's a beautiful journey, and if you've got a vision, just follow the vision. And again, you might become uncomfortable for a while, but it's part of the process, and that's okay as long as you just got your focus and just keep going. Things will eventually come around and start percolating, and doors open up, and people come into your lives at the right time when they're supposed to. And like Tony Robbins says, life happens for you, not to you. And I love that, man. You just commit to that it's going to be okay. You are where you're supposed to be. And you think that one thing, opportunity falls off. You'll go, oh my God, but it might have done that for a reason. And so just stay on your course and things will work out, in the end. So, and again, it's just a beautiful journey. And if you're living the way you truly want to live, then you can't go wrong.
At the end of the day, like if you're doing what you want to be doing, then, I mean, that's the most valuable thing in life.
That's right. Yeah. Find that happiness, right? And just keep going. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for
appreciate it, Tommy.
hanging out. And I'll get all your like links and contact stuff, and so people can find you too and check out the collective and whatnot.
It. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was easy.
Yeah, easy. Just hanging out.
I know, that's cool, dude. You've got a great thing going, dude. This is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I just I do the thing too where I don't tell people that we're starting sometimes too, or like I'm trying to. It's like you catch these little bits of like people just being people and hanging out.
Yeah, just easy conversation, right?
Yeah, because as soon as you press, you're like, okay, we'll start. Then like you get into your head and you're like, how am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to say?
What do I do with my hands?
What do I do with my hands? Sometimes I still think about that because I know I'm like, better sit up straight or something. Or like, do I ran out of coffee and I was like, do I still pretend to like sip it? I was like, I got like one more sip. A little bit
of something in there. That's funny. Well, yeah, I mean, that's when I first made a video with Steve, it was funny because he was like, when you're talking though, use your hands more. You know what I mean? Like, and then he had me just film. He's like, hey, just I'm just going to film this as B-roll, but just move your hands like you're talking. And so I'm sitting there like, I feel like I'm doing sign language or something like,